Hey, we need some extra money.
Side gig, perfect solution.
The economy is tightening. Prices are on the rise.
Because of those two factors, there's an increasing need for side gigs.
If you don't know us, I'm Larry.
And I'm Hope.
And we're from Under the Median, where every week we bring you videos on practical frugality.
In March of 2023, CBS Evening News did a report on the importance of side gigs in the United States of America. Here's what they said. They said nearly half of all American workers today have some kind of a side hustle to earn extra cash, showing the toll inflation has taken on the working people, according to a new report. Now, that report was from Lending Tree. I'll make sure that there's a link to the original report, guys, in the description of the video so you can take a look at it if you want to. They reported some really interesting statistics.
48%, or that would be the portion of high-income consumers, are living paycheck to paycheck in February of 2023. High income, by the way, is defined as an income of $100,000 per year.
62%, that's 6 in 10 of people who are struggling paycheck to paycheck. Those consumers had supplemental income that represented more of their total monthly income over the last 90 days. So in other words, if you're already struggling to make ends meet, then that supplemental income, once again, is very, very important to you.
So what is so great about side jobs? Well, one thing is that they help you bring in money to cause you to be able to meet your goals faster.
They also give you an opportunity, I think, to try out a position. It's like try it to see if you like it before you commit to it.
Like a test drive.
A little bit. So one of our sons, when he was 15, was able to secure an internship at the local historical society because he was thinking he really wanted to major in history. And that gave him an opportunity to learn archival practices, things like that. And the other thing he learned, though, is that that was not what he wanted to do with the rest of his life.
Additionally, if you find that your interest grows with the position that you've chosen for your side gig, it may be that that could take over what you're doing full-time and become your full-time job.
Now, if what we've talking about sort of resonates with you and you think, yep, I am right there, either you have a side gig or you're thinking, yep, I really need to find a side gig, then stick with us because we're going to basically provide you with a tutorial that gives you ideas about how to think through the process of your side gig, what it could be. We'll give you some examples of side gigs. Then we'll give you some tips on once you get going on that side gig, how to continue to monetize it and to grow in the amount of money you're making in the side gig.
So, Hope, how does one discover their skills and interests?
That's probably the first place you need to start when you're thinking about a side gig is what do I really, really like doing? Now, let's just say you're drawing a blank slate. You're like, I really don't know what it is that I do that other people would be willing to pay me to do. One of the best ways that you can figure this out is to ask other people around you. Ask your family members or ask some of your friends. Is there something I do that you think I'm really, really good at? It could be something like organizing. We had a friend that helped us stage our old home before it went on the market. She was brilliant at it. She walked in, said, move this here, move that there, put that pillow there. And she made it look in about 20 minutes better than it had looked in the 18 years that we'd owned the house. She was really, really good at it.
You might find that one of your own hobbies or interests could easily be converted into cash. I learned how to transfer 8mm films to videotape. By doing that, I got confident in that I could offer my services to other people, and I started doing lots of transfers.
Another thing that you need to consider after you've sort of narrowed down, these are some things I do well, these are some interests, I think these could become side gigs. You want to consider the whole issue of time versus money.
Yes.
You're going to put a certain amount of time into this side gig. You need to make sure that, first of all, you're not overscheduling yourself with way too much of a side gig so that you wind up burning out and thinking, I never want to do this again the rest of my life. The other thing you want to make sure is that after your expenses are paid, and you will owe taxes on whatever you make in your side gig, you want to make sure that you're leaving enough meat on the bone, so to speak, that you're leaving yourself enough money at the end of the day so that it is worth the time that you're investing.
When you have a side gig and you start seeing money flow in, you want to make sure that that money has a purpose, that it's not just coming in and it's just floating around your bank account. You want to make sure that you have some goals attached to and associated with that income.
One of the things that we've developed over the past several years is what we like to call a goal ladder. It's a series really of quarterly, monthly, and weekly goals that are all interconnected. What that does is it allows like a stair step so that they support one another, those various types of goals, and they allow you to reach your goals more quickly and more easily. Now, if you're interested in like a step-by-step tutorial on our goal ladder and how we use it, we did a video on it. That video we'll make sure is linked up above and in the description of this video. And if you want to just skip to the head of the line and skip the video and you just want to get all of our forms that we use to make this goal ladder, you can do that too. We'll make sure that there's a link to all of those goals. We call it Goal Wise. We'll make sure that's also listed in the video description.
Some examples of some goals you can use to apply this money to would be paying off your debt faster, saving up for that emergency fund. Maybe you have a special goal that you want to do. We have a couple weddings coming up that we're helping with. You might have a vacation that you want to take. There might be a major purchase that you have in mind that you need the money for. So make sure that the money has a place to go along with the ability to bring it in. One of the things that you might want to look into is how much money do you need? How much additional income are you really looking for? Once you determine how much money it is you're looking for, then you can determine how much of the job you need to do and how often in order to make that goal.
Yeah, that's kind of the gap factor, isn't it? It's what is the gap that you need to fill, and then the side gig is how you intend to fill the gap.
Once you start bringing in additional income, you'll want to have a plan in place in order to utilize that income. And one of the ways you can do that is to have a financial advisor. Now, we've had a financial advisor for years, and that is John Creekmer of Creekmer Wealth. And we're very happy to note that he is the sponsor for tonight's video.
When we walked into John's office years ago, we had been living under our means for a number of years. So we were consistently spending less and saving more every month. We had some money saved up, but we had a couple of issues that we needed to deal with immediately when we walked into Creekmer Wealth Advisors. And one of those was the fact that we had this nest egg and we didn't have clearly defined goals for what to do with that money. And the second problem we really needed to deal with was figuring out how we could allocate that money in a way that would allow us to reach goals more quickly and more efficiently with a whole lot more ease. Creekmer Wealth helped us to create a plan and a clear path to reach some great big goals, like Larry retiring at the end of 2022. If you have questions about money, about budgeting, about maybe creating some of those goals, about investing or about retirement, and you live in the United States, Creekmer Wealth Advisors would love to field those questions for you. You'll find a link to Creekmer Wealth all the way at the top of the description of this video. Thanks, Creekmer Wealth team, for sponsoring the video.
Once you've evaluated the kind of gig that you want to do, now is the time to determine what the demand is and what the opportunities are for that gig.
We have several ideas about how you can sort of evaluate your side gig idea and determine, am I really going to make money off of this? One of the things that you can do, there are probably around your area a number of free community bulletin boards. You can just put like your number on strips and then people, a little description, this is what I do, strip with your phone number on it. People can take it off and then they can call you, make contact with you, and you can chat with them about the services you offer and your price points. You want to explore the demand for your products or services, not only at the local level, but this is the age of the internet. So really you can offer it a lot of times, especially if you're working from home, to people across the United States. And you can even decide if you want to offer it around the globe.
But first, you need to determine what to charge for the services. And once again, we have the internet, so that makes it easy.
There are other gig platforms that are super popular, like Upwork or Fiverr. If you've ever hired anything done on Fiverr, very inexpensive, and you can hire people from all over the place, and they just have their short bio on there and tell you what their experience is, and you decide if you want to hire them or not. But you can also see what those people are charging to do what you want to do. You might also look on LinkedIn. It is the largest place where professionals meet other professionals. Oftentimes on there, you have a picture of yourself, you have a short bio, you might even be able to put short examples of your work, links where people can find those examples of your work. There's a lot of ways that you can use that platform of LinkedIn to connect with people who would need your services.
There are literally hundreds of things that you can do to make extra money. The trick is to find out the one that works for you.
All right, guys, how about some examples of what gig work can look like? How about freelance opportunities? I did professional voiceovers for a number of years, especially when the kids were young. I did voiceovers for large companies like Pioneer Hybrid International, Country Companies Insurance. I did some for Caterpillar Tractor Company, and I also did a couple for the Museum of Science and Industry in Chicago. I would get the script ahead of time, walk in, do the script, took me about 20 minutes, walk back out, and then I would bill them whatever my fee was.
Websites cost very little to get started, and you might want to put up a website and put your abilities and your talents on there for other people to find. Another really good one is through Google, and it's called Blogger. How does that one work, Hope?
Blogger is free of charge to use. The disadvantage is that you don't actually own the content because you don't own the website. Google does. But Blogger, once again, absolutely free. There's a lot of ways that you can make it look pretty doggone professional. And Under the Median, just in case you didn't know, actually started several years ago on Blogger.
And there's also WordPress. I think there's a free version of that as well. You can also think about utilizing some of the assets that you already have. For instance, if you own a car, you might think about doing some Uber driving. If you want to go big and you have a second home, you can put it up as an Airbnb.
Some people actually rent out just portions of their home, a room or two.
You want to make sure that you check for the laws in your area so that you're not getting into something that would cause liability.
You may want to consult an attorney before you get started using something that you personally own, like your car or your home.
Here's another way that you can make money. There are a lot of different online research companies that will hire you to research their product and give them a report back. This can be a little time consuming, so you kind of want to juggle how much time you want to put in to each of these tasks.
You can also do online surveys. I've got a couple of suggestions for you in this area. I've used swag bucks. You answer surveys in return for points, and eventually you can turn those points in either for gift cards. Yes, it works. It takes a while to get enough points to really add up to anything. The only other thing that I would say is put a limit on the amount of time that you're doing it. So usually I would set a timer for, say, 30 minutes, maybe 45 minutes, and when the timer goes off, you're done for the day and you don't go back to swag bucks until the next day. But it's legit and you really do get points for it.
Hope has signed up recently to user interviews. I'm not really familiar with that, Hope. What is that?
I researched it. It's one that I recently became aware of. I signed up for it. I've not yet done any interviews for them. It's where you fill out a profile page and they match you up with survey opportunities based on your profile. So let's just say that you're someone who owns a Jaguar, for instance. There may be a company who's doing research on Jaguar owners, and they're going to pay you in the form of a $50 gift card in return for, say, 45 minutes of your time on Zoom talking with them about your Jaguar and what you like about it or don't like about it. I've gotten lots of invitations, not had time to really explore it yet, but I'll leave a link to it in the description of the video in case you're interested in learning more.
You might think about selling your own crafts and creations.
When you say that, one immediately thinks of Etsy. One of the reasons I think about it is not one, but two of our kids have had Etsy shops. Our oldest son does handmade rosaries and has a shop on Etsy. But our future daughter-in-law, who is marrying our son, John, Delaney is marrying John in about 6 months. In April, they're getting married. She has had an Etsy shop for a number of years.
She knows that I love 78 RPM records. So she made a plate that looks like a record, and on it, it says, Under the Median 2022, Hope and Larry Ware. I don't know if you can read that or not on camera.
Here's an idea of some of the different things that she has in her shop. She reuses plastic grocery bags and weaves them into some really handy things. She's on Etsy as Vegan Christian Hippie. We'll leave a link for it in the video description.
Another skill that you might have that can bring you cash is teaching or tutoring. Share your knowledge with others.
The first thing that came to mind was VIP Kids. The only reason it did is because I have a friend who has taught for years on VIP Kids and made very good money doing it. But not only that, she absolutely loves what she does.
If you speak a second language, that can be a very valuable asset. There are a lot of adults that would be willing to pay for you to help them school their children who might be taking foreign languages in school or might need to be able to learn English as their second language. At any case, that is a really good way to make some money on the side. You might consider drive, deliver, earn. Now, we kind of touched on this a little bit ago, but if you know how to drive, you got a good driving record, then you can earn money by driving. There's all kinds of ways you can do that. There's, of course, DoorDash, Uber. There are dealerships that will hire you to drive cars to other places and make deliveries for them. So many people are buying cars online and they might need to be driven 150 miles to the prospective owner. So that is a great way to make some extra money.
Freelance writing, this is one that I have seen and heard about on Fiverr, but there are other platforms and ways that you can use freelance writing or editing skills. I know a young lady that she has a full-time job elsewhere, but she also is building up a business slowly of editing other people's material.
You've got your side gig. How do you treat it as a business?
You want to make the most out of your side gig because let's face it, a side gig is at its heart a way to make more money. One of the first things that you need to learn is that that is no longer a hobby. You are now making money doing it. It is in essence a small business and you need to treat it like that.
I think one of the temptations of a side gig is it tends to go word of mouth. So you might have good friends or family asking for your services, and they may kind of expect you to do it for a lot less money, but you've really got to treat it like a business and you need to charge accordingly. Now that you've got your side gig, you'll also need to manage your finances and track the money that you have coming in. You'll want to keep good records. If you're using your car, you'll have to write down mileage. You'll have to write down how much expense your car is costing, repair, gasoline, insurance. All those things have to be taken into consideration. Once you have all of this down, you'll want to promote your side gig. There's so many different ways to do it. Now that we have social media, there's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and of course, YouTube in order to promote your side gig.
As Larry mentioned, the primary thing that you'll find business from is word of mouth. So make sure that you're asking previous customers if they will share with others in their sphere of influence how they enjoyed working with you. Make sure that you are getting in writing any positive reviews. We want to swing back to the beginning of the video for just a second and remind you, we started this whole conversation about side gigs with the understanding that the reason that the side gig economy is growing so rapidly right now is the fact that the economy is uncertain right now. People are having trouble making ends meet. So you're getting the side gig so you can bring in some extra money. But sometimes just bringing in extra money is only a part of the solution. Another part of the solution certainly will be to look hard at your budget and look at cutting areas of your budget down to size or cutting them out completely when and where you can. And part of being able to do that is the whole idea of implementing practical frugality. If you want practical frugality sort of boiled down to its core of easy ways that you can adopt practical frugality in your everyday life, and it's not going to take you a lot of time. We did a video where we talked about 15-minute frugality hacks that you can use every week to save money in your budget. It's right over there. Larry, no, try it again.
Sometimes.
Sometimes we do, but sometimes not.